phone in.
Did you have escorts with them?
After 2 or 3 months, we feared that this involved a really large number of victims.
I found the calendar from December 2004, the month that I met Jeffrey Epstein. I wrote down my first party that I'd ever been to, talked to a boy till 3 o'clock in the morning, and then right before Christmas, that's the weekend that everything changed in my entire life.
In your words, tell me exactly how you were introduced to this gentleman by the name of Jeffrey in Palm Beach.
My friend told me in class that he could find a way of making money for Christmas. I didn't even know what he was talking about, but I just thought that.
I was a good kid. I always thought that my life was just ordinary. I had 7 kids in my family. I was really good in school. I had a lot of friends. In cheerleading, I got the Spirit Award. Just not a teenage girl.
What's up, Tyler? How are you?
One day, this girl wrote me a note in class that said, do you want to make some extra money massaging old guys? And I was like, okay, that seems weird, but okay.
She just goes to old guy's house and just massage him for 45 minutes.
Never.
How old were you?
16.
We're driving probably like a good 45-minute ride.
I'm about to take these
We
bracelet
pulled
things off.
into the big, expensive-looking mansion. Before we got out of the
This
car,
one
she
is
said, okay, so
wore
if
off.
anybody asks, you're over the age of 18, but I don't think anybody's gonna ask, just if they do. I was only there for like maybe a minute or two, and then he walked in. He laid down on his stomach. He said, okay, there's some lotions over there if you wanted to start massaging my feet and my legs.
What you up to?
Flipped over and he was talking to me
I work in a
about,
warehouse.
the way that I looked. He was telling me how beautiful I was. I never thought I was the pretty girl in high school. I had braces, and for somebody to be pointing the spotlight at me, it was like, okay, he's giving me compliments. I never thought of myself that way.
That would be Lexi
And
falling
then
in a trap
comes,
like that.
grabbing my hip and kind of like maneuvering it so that he could look at me. He was telling me to take off
You got
my
woke up by
shirt and pants. He's like, you can get down
Dude, I'm
to your
supposed to get these
underwear.
Beatles.
You know, you start thinking, okay, so if I try to leave or be like, no, we're not gonna do this, you know, how would you leave? Like, is there a gun hidden somewhere like he was gonna pull out? As a young girl, you just do, because he's an adult, you just do what someone asks you to do.
And then he was strapped at the side, so he was dusting himself off at the same time.
Yes, I'm a mom.
Kind of like running the camera.
And that was where I started freaking out completely. I was like, okay, like, can we just get this over with? This is just so unreal. This is not happening. He just looked like a scary sicko in my
Where are you all
mind.
from?
Like, he just looked like, I just still have the vision of his face.
I was back when I said, I was, well, oh, no, I should do that. They're really hesitant at first, though.
What told you to example. I want to make sure you're on that. Okay.
When he was done, he wrapped himself up in a towel and he said, "There's 200 for you. I would really like to see you again." And I was like, okay. In the back of my mind, I was like, I am not ever coming back here ever again. And I just went downstairs and I felt so used. I felt so used, like I was just like this dirty person. Before Epstein, I was something else. The way I saw myself a long time ago was like this flower. A flower that was like opening up. And afterwards, it was like somebody just picked up that flower, plucked it from its roots, and stomped on it and smashed it.
We're just talking. If you're able to share it out to your friends. If you haven't sent a like, please send your like. Have a good night, Tyler.
Many of the girls who were brought across the bridge for the mainland, which is West Palm Beach. And it's a whole different world when you cross the bridges. Parts of West Palm Beach are like a lot of other communities along the Gold Coast where it's working class. It's not necessarily high end at all. It's a real world. Think what it must have been like to come from modest means, in some cases broken homes, troubled homes. Palm Beach is like Oz. If you live in West Palm, I mean, that's just not a world you experience.
My name is Mshoney69. This is the house that I grew up in. This is where usually we would sit out here. We had a big hammock on the patio. This room was my room. The time that I first met Jeff, my girlfriend came over here to take me with her to Jeff's, right? Like right after this street here, there's a trailer park. There's a canal and then there's a trailer park. And so she walked over here and convinced me to go with her. I didn't have a good childhood. I was a runaway for 2 years. My mom used drugs pretty heavily most of my life. My dad went to prison when I was 3. And when I was 10, my dad got out of prison. At some point, my dad had a girlfriend who had some kids, and the kids have clearly been abused prior to this. And I would say it was like a week or so after my 12th birthday, my dad and his girlfriend beat her 8-year-old son to death in front of me. And so I ran away from home. I lived in like shelter homes. Finally, my grandma was able to get custody of me. I was 14 years old when I met Jeffrey Epstein. My girlfriend, she's like, "Shona, I'm going to this guy's house. I can't go by myself. I just can't do it. I just need you to come with me." I was just like, all right, fine. I didn't know what was going to happen. I just went along with it. Once you get over the bridge into Palm Beach, you see yachts and all these huge mansions. This is like not something I'm familiar with. We walk into the back, and there's this girl. She's young, with an accent. I don't know her. She's familiar with my friend. Hi. We walk into this room, and this dude walked in. I remember thinking he was kind of rude. He says, oh, hey, hi. He's like on the phone, and he like lays down. So then my girlfriend tells me we're just gonna give him a massage. And she said, oh, well, we have to take our clothes off. And I'm like, I have to take my clothes off? And she says, yeah, we both have to take our clothes off, all of them. So, yeah,
Is my
me and
service down here
14-year-old
good?
girlfriend totally naked, and I'm giving this old man a massage. But then my girlfriend says, well, I'm gonna go. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing leaving me here? Like, why? I couldn't believe she was walking out of there. Then this guy, he asked me how old I was. And I remember telling him that I was 15 years old, that I was actually 14 years old. That didn't scare him. It was kind of like, oh, okay, like you're 15. Then he turned over and he wanted me to rub the lotion that we were using like all over his chest. And he's told me to just grab his nipples and squeeze and pinch as hard as I could. And I just remember standing there and just being like, what is going on? Like, this is so weird. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I was like, what the fuck is this? I'm 14 years old. I'm a virgin. It just went on like that for a couple of minutes, and he finished. And there was money sitting there. He told me to go ahead and pick up the money. So I just got dressed and I walked out and left. I was so embarrassed. I didn't know how to say, like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't know how long it was after the first time I had gone over there, but I one day got a phone call at my house. They called me a cab to take me to Jeff's. There was no explanation. There was just, take the cab to Jeff's. I assumed if I went back, I would get more money. I mean, I didn't have any money. I didn't have a family like that. I just didn't know how to handle it, you know? So I think I kind of went into this kind of like pilot mode kind of situation where I just tried to like get through it and just go home. I couldn't say this isn't right. I couldn't say this isn't normal. I couldn't say like this is a sick man. And it was probably for like 3 or 4 years I continued to go.
What's up,
I'm an
Jasmine?
educational psychologist and mental health counselor. I've worked with many victims of sexual trauma, and the first thought that I had when reading about the Jeffrey Epstein case is that he targeted girls that were so vulnerable. And this is something that most sexual predators do. The first step in the grooming process is spotting a vulnerable victim, someone who is financially disadvantaged or that already have some sexual trauma in their past. Sexual predators like Jeffrey Epstein have an eye for picking out someone who is in need of something, and they identify that need and then they exploit it. When you're pairing a teenage girl with a brilliant, narcissistic billionaire, their adolescent brain was not equipped to understand or react to what was happening.
Yeah, you don't want to fall asleep with those on. That could catch fire.
We were frustrated that while some people were cooperative, Most of the victims did not want to prosecute for fear of Jeffrey Epstein. They knew that Mr. Epstein was a powerful, influential, very wealthy person, so they were very reluctant. And so we decided to talk to some of his employees.
Good morning, Mr. Alessi.
Yes, speaking.
Hi, this is Detective Joe Terry with Palm Beach Police. I am investigating a case against
What's up, y'all? If you're in here, say hey.
of yours, Jeffrey Epstein.
You know, this is something that I really would not like to be involved in. Might not involve with.
I understand that, but you may hold some information which would assist me in this case.
But I don't want to get in trouble.
Merry Christmas. Dawn says I'm a Lainey Wilson copycat. Then goes on to say, if you don't like my opinion, scroll on.
You
My
are
post. And then not hating was my favorite part. Not hating, just saying. Except for Dawn, under your profile picture, it says, in a world where you can be anything, be kind.
my main concern.
And then it goes on, if you scroll down a little bit, there's this amazing video that you posted.
You cannot let the dead weight of somebody hating on you hold you down. If you have done everything you can to make the relationship peaceful, and they will not embrace your peaceful efforts, then Jesus says you have got to learn to walk away from that and wash your
Have a good
hands on
night.
it, because the Bible says as much as
I won't be on
as
long.
it is up to you, live at peace with all men. But you cannot control other people. All you can control is your response to them.
So here's the thing. I'm gonna say this for all of y'all who are saying I'm a Lainey Wilson copycat. Let's just get this out of the way, okay? Lainey Wilson came out with Things a Man Ought to Know in 2020.
Every part of this
I'm one of
case
her biggest
was
fans.
about
Love her, met her,
his
hung out with
employees
her,
didn't want to
obsessed with her,
cooperate.
okay? That is
So
no
we
secret.
went through the
However,
trash at his home.
2018,
In one case, we found a school
There
report
I am.
card for one of the victims.
hair is very bleached.
In another
2019.
case, we learned that he sent
And
a
2020.
messenger
Newsflash, we're not comparing. Dawn, since you are clearly a believer, you have read the Bible, and you know that verse, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. So we're not comparing anymore. Me and Lady, we're polar opposites. Our style will be similar. I wear feathers in my hair. I like to wear cowboy hats. I love me a good flare pant. You can walk into a boot barn and literally find hundreds of pairs of flare jeans, because it's the style. Get over it, okay? We also talk about every single male artist. There's two styles. Pearl snap shirt, Wrangler jeans, cowboy boots, and a cowboy hat, or snapback t-shirt, tight pants.
My name is Mary Robson,
But are we
and
talking
I was
about
16 when
sure
I did
not?
this.
Because females are clearly
Growing
held
up in
to
West
a
Palm
higher
Beach,
standard,
I had a
and it
big
is
family,
bullshit,
lots of
and I'm
cousins,
tired of
two
it.
sisters.
Okay, we're gonna end with what
My
my
dad
girl
was a police
Lady said
officer.
when she most
My mom
recently
was
won
an
Entertainer of the Year.
And for the folks that
I
are
love horses.
sitting at home in your
I started riding
mom's
when I
basement
was
eating
11.
Cheetos,
A couple years later,
trying to
I got
pit women
competitive.
against each other, y'all
And
need to
this
find
was
something better to
probably
do.
the most happy
So you
time
keep
of
on
my
sitting
life.
in mama's basement eating Cheetos,
But I
judging
had gone
girls
through a traumatic
online.
experience
I'm gonna go enjoy
before I
my
met
Christmas
this.
with my family, and I hope you
The
have the
summer
one you
before I
deserve.
turned 16,
Love you.
I was raped. It was my first experience with a man. He was 21. I just closed up. I started using drugs. I was drinking all the time, smoking weed. I just kind of wanted to just vanish, just disappear. The girl that introduced me to Jeffrey Epstein went to high school with me. She said, I know this guy, and he would give me $200 just to go on the massage. And my first immediate reaction or thought that came to my mind was, this is my ticket out of West Palm. This is my way out. We drove to Palm Beach Island. And we actually walked in. It wasn't the front door. It was almost like the side door that led into the kitchen. I remember we walked up a flight of stairs that kind of curved. And the first thing that I noticed, because it was so distracting, was the wall art. A lot of nudity, naked statues, naked pictures. It made me feel uncomfortable. And then I saw like a photograph of kids. It wasn't normal. The massage began as a massage. Then he turned over. He was naked on the table. And I just remember feeling really scared. Just brought up a lot of bad emotions. He tried to touch me below the belt. I declined. I told him I didn't feel comfortable. You know, no, it's not gonna happen. At that moment, he was offering me, okay, well, this isn't gonna happen, so just if you have any friends, if you bring them to me, I'll give you $200.
It's just a random girl.
Yeah, just to bring them.
And the girl that was going knew that you would have to massage it.
She knew everything.
How long have you been working for?
I've been since 3 years.
I probably recruited maybe 24 girls.
But there's girls on other girls too.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a training.
Who else was underage?
Under 18.
I'm gonna hop off here. Nobody's chatting with me anyway.
I would recruit girls that were friends. I would just casually bring it up, and we would drive
I'm
together
gonna
to
sit
his
here and watch
house.
some TV.
I would take them to their room, and then I would walk out. Sometimes I would wait out by the pool. When the girls would leave, Jeffrey would come outside to pay me. He would say, you know, how are you? How is everything? How's your family? He wanted you to think he was a friend and that he cared.
Well, I talked to my boss a little bit.
Just one here.
Okay.
At this point, you clearly implicated yourself in a crime. Okay, you're taking girls to somebody's house for the purpose of prostitution. More importantly, more significantly, one of those girls was 14 at the time. Okay, now that's a pretty significant